Hello! Welcome to a very special episode of Chastity's Chess Challenge on Twitch. Now, I've been working on schoolwork tonight, and I still have a lot left to get done. But I wanted to take an opportunity to show you how it's possible to play chess against people without them actually being present or online at the same time as you. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. This program that you see behind me is called On Croissant. And what it allows you to do is you can take any username of anybody on chess.com or leadchess.org and you can download all of their rated games on that platform all at once. And it keeps a database of them, which can be exported to PGN. You can filter through it. You can find certain games, certain criteria. I need to take a sip. And so here's the thing. I'm going to turn my camera off right now, just so that my head won't cover up any important information. But you see here, what you see on my screen here is there's different accounts I have here. There's my own account where I've played 997 games on leadchess.org, and then 2,616 games on chess.com. Now, that doesn't include chess variants, which there's plenty of. And here's Anastasia's chess.com account. They've played 259 games. We have Grandmaster Hikaru. We have Champion Magnus Carlsen. We have some dude with a strange name on Lichess. I don't know how to say that name, but this person has played over 6,000 games. I have a lot of users here, and if you go to add account, you see you can choose what the platform is and what name you want to give this account. You could use a person's real name, for instance, but also the username. So you can use this program. This program on Croissant is free and open source, so anybody in the world can use this program. Now, I have this person that I played chess with. His name is Rocco. And if you see here, you see his ratings here. You see that he plays Blitz, Rapid, and Daily. For some reason, well, I mean, this is chess.com, so there doesn't exist a classical rating like in Lichess. And there are 142 games here. Now, one thing to note is there may be casual games not included because On Croissant only downloads rated games for whatever reason. That's just the way the author configured the program. So, let's look at some stats here. We see that my win percentage on Lichess currently is at 47.2%, which is not that great, obviously. I want to be winning more than half the time. But now let's go and look at Rocco's stats here. Out of 141 games, that's 122 losses and only 16 wins. So why is it that Rocco loses so much more often than he wins? I know my win percentage wasn't that impressive, but what I can do, and I'm doing this as a favor to my chess friend Rocco, is I'm going to use the database of his games to find out what is it that he's doing wrong. And if I can identify these mistakes that he's making, then maybe that can help him to avoid them. So if I go to my databases, you'll see here that I have this star. That's because I'm using Rocco's chess.com games as the reference database that I'm going to be analyzing. Now, if we go to Explore here, it shows you a list of all of the games that he's played, and it tells the usernames. Now, most of the games are with me, and then there's also some other players here. So here's the thing. Let's take for example a sample game here. I was playing as black here. So let's look at this game here. So here you see the chessboard and you see the move list. So I'm going to cycle through this and okay, Rocco is playing as white. So he moves the pawn in front of his rook right there. And then I move my queen's pawn because I'm playing black. And then he moves that rook right there. And then I move my other pawn, the one in front of my king. And that bishop, notice how that bishop targets this rook. So now this time Rocco was smart and at least he moved the rook out of the way before the bishop killed it. And that's really good because if he hadn't, I would have killed it. And then I had both my pawns in the center and see I advanced that pawn there. And now his rook has to be chased away. So he chases it back there. And meanwhile, I'm developing my pawns. I'm getting my pawns out of the way of my queen. So all he's doing is moving this rook. And then I was moving my pawns out. And then he has this knight out here. But now there I am. I've got my pawns there. And his rook is on the run again. And now I'm getting my knight out. So you see that he wasted several moves just moving this rook around. So he's not getting all of his pieces active. Now, this is interesting. This is actually very interesting because if you look at this, he captured that there. And what I should have just done is I should have just captured with the I should have just captured that rook with my knight. Instead, I just blocked using that knight, which is not bad, but I could have just gone ahead and killed it. So I made a mistake in that game. And then there I actually did do that. And so yeah, even though I made some mistakes, basically Rocco lost his rook, which was the only piece he moved for the longest time. So now this is only one game. This is only one game of many games that he played. So let's go back. We're going to do, let's go to the board. We're going to do the analysis board. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the database. And remember, this is Rocco's database here. So you see the numbers here. The numbers here indicate the win percentages for black and for white. So basically, when playing and also you have to keep in mind that sometimes Rocco played white and sometimes he played black. So which side actually won in this case is not that relevant. What is more relevant is to know which side was playing which. That's an important criteria here. So let's see here. Let's take the most common example. Let's look at the most common example, which is because 59 of these games started with e4. So we know now we're in games start with e4. So there's 59 matches. So now we can go through the list of games where Rocco was playing. Yeah, because in some of these games, Rocco was playing white. And in some games, he was playing black. So let's look at games where Rocco played white, for instance. So let's see here. Let's view this game, and let's look at this particular game here. Okay, that's not bad. It looks like Rocco is aiming for the scholar's mate, but then was blocked by that knight in the way. Okay, and then he retreated the queen. That wasn't necessary. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, this is most interesting. So, okay. From comparing the previous game with this game, here's what I'm noticing. Not only is Rocco losing a lot of pieces, but he's also attacking with one or two pieces. Like in this case, it was the knight. Well, we had the bishop and the queen, and he's mostly attacking with the queen, trying to move it around, but needs to get all the pieces involved in the action. Yeah, this is very interesting. Yeah, that's quite interesting there. Okay, let's see here. That's very strange. Now let's filter the list of games a little bit more. Let's take, for example, games where let's go to a common position. Let's go to the stats. So most of the time in the games when e4 is played, then e5 is also played. Both sides have moved their their king's pawn. Now, notice that 8 of these games contained here. Yes, there's 8 of these games where the queen was moved to f3. But there's also six games where the bishop was moved to c4. And both of those are pretty good. Let's take a look at these examples of queen to f3, because I find that interesting. So now that we've filtered the game list to only 8 games, what we're seeing here is that of these games, okay, so it looks like of this list of 8 games, there were 2 games where Rocco won, and there were 6 games that he lost. So let's look at an example where Rocco won a game. So let's go to this game. So this is a game where Rocco was playing as the white player. You can see in the PGN notation right here. So let's see what happened in this game. So, okay, yeah, let's see here. I'm trying to... So king's pawn, okay, king's pawn, okay. And Rocco moves the queen to f3. And then black stops that just by moving that pawn forward. So now the queen can't get to the f7 square. Rocco moves, interestingly, moves the queen's pawn where the queen used to be, moves it 1 square, which I find interesting. This is actually what I will call a brilliant blunder. Okay, this is really bad. This particular move is so bad that it can only be described as a brilliant blunder. Because first of all, what this does is this means that along this diagonal, the king is weak. It also blocks this bishop right here. Now, it does allow this bishop to get out, but keep in mind, this bishop doesn't have very many good options here. Yeah, let's see, how do I remove the arrows? Okay, I don't know how to. Okay, let me, okay, there we go. I don't know how to remove those arrows. That's so weird. How do I, okay, clear drawings, there's a button for that. So this makes the king vulnerable on this diagonal. But it also, this bishop can go out here. But that's, it's strange. And also keep in mind that the original idea was probably to attack this square, but now this bishop is blocked. But maybe it's too soon to judge. So let's go forward to the next move. Black moves the knight to c6. And then, okay, an interesting move there. What's the purpose of that pawn move? Okay. Okay, this game isn't something that I usually see. Okay. Okay, that's pretty freaky. So now Rocco has captured that pawn right there. But now, yeah, so the queen is there exposed. Now, okay, this is bad, guys, because see, the queen could capture the other queen, it could capture the rook, but instead, Rocco moves the knight there. Okay, now that is okay. Instead of defending his queen, Rocco just leaves the queen there and moves the knight there. And the black queen could have just taken the white queen, but for whatever reason they didn't. They tried to threaten it with the bishop. And now, checkmate. That's hilarious. Okay, so basically, Rocco makes some really weird moves that make no sense, but then still eventually gets to a checkmate. But keep in mind that if the black queen had just captured the white queen there, then black could have easily won that game. So Rocco did win, but was not playing very good here. So that's a very strange one. That's very strange indeed. So, yeah, so let's go back and let's look at the other games. Let's see let's get out of there and then let's go because that was that that particular game. So now we're going to go to the other one where Rocco won and we're going to analyze this. Now this one, okay, so far so typical. Queen still goes to f3. The bishop goes there. Checkmate. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing. Okay, here's what I'm seeing. So let me come back here just for a second. So here's what I'm seeing. Rocco is good in that he's planning an attack on the weak f7 square. He definitely has learned the scholar's mate. He's learned that that's a weak square and you can checkmate the king if you gang up with a bishop and a queen there. But he seems to make a lot of moves that are unnecessary towards that end and is not involving all of his pieces when he does this. So let's look at one more game that Rocco played because there's okay, here's what we're going to do. What I'm going to do is we're going to go back. We're going to go backwards here. We're going to go back to the beginning and then we're going to go to the stats. Let's take an example where let's go where a d4 opening was played. So d4, d5, c4. Now this is interesting here. This is going to be interesting because the queen's gambit position here, which is, one of my favorite things. There are only 3 matches, so there are 3 games. Notice that all 3 of these games were me versus Rocco. So I was playing white in all 3 of these games. And I won all 3 of them. So what happened in these games? What happened? So let's take a look. So let's open this game and let's see what happened. And Rocco, this is very essential information because the Queen's Gambit is something I very frequently play. So I have some advice for you to help you defeat me in the future. Okay, so there we go. There's the Queen's Gambit. Now, okay, not bad, Rocco. He learned the Queen's Gambit decline. This is the most common response to the Queen's Gambit is declining the Gambit there. And then what I did there is I simply advanced that pawn 1 more square with the idea of blocking his bishop from going anywhere. So, and then he moves his pawn, and then I start trying to attack his black knight. Moves the knight out of the way. Then I start moving other pawns. Okay, so far I'm not seeing any mistakes. Now, this happened on March 3rd, 2024. So it's possible that Rocco's general play has improved since some of the other games that I've shown in this same video. Let's see here. Okay, I traded a bishop there. Okay, well, Rocco's bishop is really blocked. He can't really go anywhere. Okay, I'm not seeing any major mistakes here. But, oh, okay, now there's a mistake. Okay, look at that. He just takes that pawn with the knight, and not only does that expose the knight, but then I get to kill the queen with the bishop. So then he captures that back, and then he notice he had to capture that back, but his knight is still there. Now this is weird because I made a mistake here. Like, I could have just gone ahead and killed the knight, but for whatever reason I moved my knight here, so I made a mistake there. And then I captured that knight. He put me in check there, but then he just retreats the rook. Interesting. Okay, I see how this is. Okay, and then I had a queen. So yeah, basically I wiped out his pieces, and then I checkmated him right there. Okay, that's what happened there. So let's look at the other games, for instance. Let's look at the next game and see if this one was any different. Now this one, the Marshall defense, moves that knight to f6 instead of moving the pawn to e6. I attack the knight moves. He attacks my bishop there, I move the bishop. Then that happens, then that happens. Okay. What a weird exchange. Wait, yeah, oh, that is weird. Yeah, I got a second queen, and then I lost my queen. And, okay, now, Rocco should have won in this position. This was a game where I was playing as white, but I lost my queen because I was being stupid. I was playing really stupid in this game. So how did I okay, yes, I was playing really stupid in this game. But even so, Rocco let me take his queen here. I forked the king and the queen, then I captured the queen. And this happened, okay, this was in October 26, 2024. So then I had the advantage, and I finally wiped him out, and I checkmated him. There we are. There we go. Wow. I'm just amazed. That was a very strange game because you see here that so far I was doing really good here, but then what happened was I did that and then I got, yeah, so yeah, that was crazy. See, when he moved his bishop there, I should have put the pawn in the way and stopped it. Instead, I got that queen. Then I lost that queen. And then I captured that knight because I was distracted by that. And then his bishop killed my bishop. Right then and there, he should have found a way to be able to defeat me because he had a queen and two rooks at that point. But for whatever odd reason, he made too many mistakes. And I'm showing my mistakes too because I'm looking back at this game. And they say hindsight is 20/20. When you're playing at the time, you're not seeing it, but then it's easy to look back when you're no longer playing and think, man, why didn't I do this? So the point is, Rocco and I both made mistakes. It's just that Rocco made slightly more mistakes than I did. So let's see here. So let me conclude this little study with some advice for Rocco that I'm noticing in these games. So first of all, it seems like he's trying to rush into attacking with the queen, or maybe his rook, by themselves without getting all the other pieces into a good position first. Now, I'm guilty of this too, because yes, it's fun to just go ahead on the attack. It's fun to go for a scholar's mate, and a 4-move checkmate is most definitely satisfying. However, usually it takes a few knight and a bishop moves as well as getting a good pawn structure that protects the king if you want to be safe. You have to not only consider your offense and what you want to attack with, but also how you're going to defend your king so it doesn't get checkmated. So, if I had a chance to visit Rocco in person, I would probably play games with him and show more specifically and let him take back moves, just offering some suggestions and let him take back mistakes and learn from the process. Whereas that can be a little bit hard to do in correspondence chess, especially on chess.com, because I haven't even figured out how takebacks work on chess.com, whereas I know it works on Lichess very easily. So here's the thing. You'll want to set up your pieces and develop more of a defensive structure before you start attacking with the queen. And also the principle of, don't move the same piece twice, basically, in a row, unless you're sure you're going to win with it. Because, like in that one example, you lost a lot of time moving that rook around. So, I know it sounds easy in hindsight, looking at the games, but actually learning to avoid these mistakes when you're actually playing, especially when you're doing correspondence chess, because when you're playing a game over the board or even a live chess game, you're focused entirely on that game. Whereas with correspondence chess, you're making your move in the same game, but you don't have the focus on it. So sometimes performance can be worse in correspondence chess than it is in other chess. So I do remember Rocco played a lot better in over the board back when we used to play at the Gambler Center. So maybe that's it. Because in correspondence chess, it seems that I win almost all the time. And yes, I'm a pretty decent player, but as you've seen, I still make plenty of mistakes in my games too. But in over the board experience, I feel like Rocco is a better player than he is in correspondence online chess. So we'll have to have an opportunity to try that again. So I hope that this video has been in some way helpful to Rocco. And also keep in mind that this program, if you have any type of desktop computer, this program on Croissant is free and open source. I believe it's available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. So this program is great because it has a lot of features. So for example, you can play chess against the computer. So if I were to play chess like unlimited time, I could play against the computer. Just as an example, let's do human white versus engine black. Let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens. Wait, I'm playing against Leela Chess Zero. For whatever reason, I've never gotten Leela Chess Zero to work. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I need to choose Stockfish. I just want to show an example. We're gonna start this game. I do that. For whatever reason, Stockfish is not working. Oh well, I mostly use this program for analysis because you can analyze any given position and it automatically notates the game for you. And let's see, the analysis. Let's see, can we what happens here if we load Stockfish there? Does it even work? Okay, there it is. So now Stockfish is trying to evaluate the position. Huh. Honestly, guys, I don't know much about it. I'm going to pause that. Okay, enough about that. Truth is, I never use Stockfish with OnCroissant. I basically use the program just for stepping through and filtering through the databases that I've downloaded of my games and other players' games. That way, I can find where a position in a game occurred. I can look at the list of those games, see who was playing which side, and see what they did. So basically, it's basically Google searching for very specific chess games, meeting very specific criteria. That's what OnCroissant is so useful for. As far as analyzing games with Stockfish, I haven't figured it out because I don't use chess engines. I play against the computer sometimes on leadchess.org, but I don't really use it with other programs. I just analyze human databases and what human players do. I feel like that's a good way to learn chess. Anyway, that's all I have for now. I'm tired and I have schoolwork to go back to. But thank you to anyone who watched this. I hope this has helped you in some way. And also, thanks for playing chess on chess.com with me, Rocco. We'll have to set up an over the board experience sometime again soon. Bye.